Hello folks, so that sound you just heard, that's YouTube playing inside of Ableton Live. No tricks, no cables, no black hole. This tool works on Mac and Windows, and this tool is the Void Web Sampler by Julian Bale, French Ableton Live and Max for Live certified trainer. It's a free Max for Live device, and it's genuinely one of the most exciting tools I've come across in quite some time. I'm Heath, Ableton Live coach for DJs and producers, and today I'm going to show you exactly what this thing does and why it's worth your time. So without further ado, let's dive in and take a look around the Void Web Sampler. Let's close down this browser window, pop over to another MIDI track where I've added an instance of the Void Web Sampler Max for Live device. Just a very quick one as well. I'm not being paid or sponsored to say anything in this video. And let's start with how you begin, how you get started. It's a very simple interface. At the top here, you go to Browse and Web UI. You click there, and you'll bring up an instance of the internet, a browser, and very cleverly it goes straight to Julian Bale's Gumroad store platform, Structure Void. So if you fancy having a look around there at his other tools and books, by all means do so. But what we're going to do is come up to the top here and we're going to clear the URL and we're going to add our own. Now, given we're in Ableton Live and we probably want music or sounds coming in here, you can be as creative as you like. This is tapped into the World Wide Web. So we could be SoundCloud, a movie we're watching, a video, YouTube, a radio station. It's up to you, whatever inspires you. So I'm going to go with youtube.com, hit return. And it's as simple as that. I now have a search engine here on YouTube and I can start working with the device. So let's close that down and then let's bounce back over to where I began today's video and look at a couple of workflows here. So essentially, the first workflow is something that I would do previously, but I would use Black Hole as the tool. So let's have a look at bringing just the internet straight into Ableton Live and essentially recording that. So if we hit play on our browser here and we bring the internet into Ableton Live through the Void Web Sampler, we can do a couple of things. We can transpose the input. And on the right there, we can also adjust the level in case we need to boost or reduce the level. And very quickly, I just want to point out as well that this Max for Live device on this MIDI track can host MIDI effects in front, and it can also host audio effects afterwards. So by all means, you could add a utility here and again, adjust, boost or reduce. You could also have a limiter here and you could have reverbs and delays and all sorts of creative and fun stuff. I'm going to show you just a couple of basic workflows, but keep that in mind. So using it this way, what we could do straight away is give ourselves an audio track next door, set it to listen to the Void Web Sampler, turn it to in. We don't need to monitor it in real time. We're going to arm that track and then we're going to go back here, hit play on our browser, and then we're going to record that. And I love that workflow. Like I was saying a little earlier, I used to do that with Black Hole. We've now got the recording of what we're sending in here, and we could add that into a sampler or work with an audio, reverse it, resample it, and do all sorts of fun things. And also, like I was just saying a moment ago over here, we could also add all sorts of processing here whilst we were bringing that input into the audio track and manipulate it in real time. So pretty exciting. That's a great workflow. That's workflow number one. The second workflow is if we look at the Void Web Sampler's interface, we've got this area down the bottom here of we've got an envelope, we've got ADSR, and we've got this MIDI mode. So let's start by sort of looking at what that does and how that separates this device from anything I've seen before. So essentially giving us real-time, playback and manipulation of the inputs, a direct sampler, let's say. So if we hit play over here, and we've got the copy of the same workflow we just had, but we toggle on MIDI mode, that's correct. It silences things, and it's giving us a clue that we now need to have MIDI notes to start triggering that audio that's coming in here. Like I say, really a live sampler workflow. So let's stop our audio from coming in here for a moment, and let's create some MIDI to do that. Now we could do that multiple ways. We could come up here and open up a MIDI clip, and let's do that. And let's say we use seed in Ableton Live's clip envelopes to give ourselves some MIDI in here. So let's turn that on, and let's kind of reduce that right down to something a lot more easier to manage. Let's hit play on that. And before I do that, actually, I'm just going to go back. Yes, I have got MIDI mode toggled on, so that's good. And now let's play over here. And now our ADSR starts to come into play, right? We can come back to seed. Really interesting stuff. And then, like I was saying, let's come back over to the web sampler. Of course, we could still transpose this as well, but that in itself, what we're just getting happening now, is a very unique workflow that I haven't seen before in a tool like this. So it gets me quite excited. And I just want to point out that that's, I've just used seed there to create a quick MIDI pattern to trigger the inputs. But we could do this many, many different ways. So another way that we could do this that could be interesting is we build a chord. So we give ourselves a quick, simple triad here. Let's get back over to here, make that legato. And then I already had one sitting in front here. We could bring an arpeggiator in here. So like I said, MIDI effects are fair play here. So now let's trigger this again to play. And obviously with MIDI mode on, there's silence, but now let's trigger our chords. So just the chords for now. Let's turn on our ARP. Let's move into the sample here a bit. Let's go further in. And you get the idea. We've got this really clever tool here. So I started, that's just a very quick view of the different sort of options that we might have MIDI-wise to work with this MIDI mode and this ADSR envelope, resampling the inputs. And again, we could record that into our audio track, the output of what we're doing. And also I've been using in front here, instead of an arpeggiator, I've also used a sequencer where I don't, again, even need to have the MIDI clip. I could go somewhere like to the packs of Ableton Live, go down into sequencers, grab my favorite SQ sequencer here. And now we don't need to have, chords or the seed MIDI clip. We can just hit play. and have all sorts of fun, right? So just a few little creative ideas for you there. And like I said, you can also process the output over here. So keeping on with the creativity here, another idea I had, again, sort of working with some of the sort of areas that I've shown since the start of the video, was to grab another instance of the Void web sampler here. And in this case, so let's close our other browser over here. And in this case, we're going to bring in this sort of tongue drum recording here. So let's have a listen to what this sounds like. And we'll just make sure that we don't have the other ones for now.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus.
I was going to get a bit of an advert there. Obviously, you won't have that as well, by the way, if you're logged in. There we go. So I'm bringing that just straight through. I'm not going to work with MIDI mode here, but what I am going to do is I've got a track next door, where I've put a granulator on it. And the great thing about Granulator 3, where we are now, is that we can come down here and live capture into Granulator what we're bringing in here, right? So I can have Granulator listen to the tongue drum track. But first of all, I need to set that up, right? So I need to get into the ins and outs here, and I need to set that up. And I do that down here. And now I come down and I choose my correct track that's coming in here. And you'll see I've got an input now, and I can start to capture. So let's wait for a nice bit here, or we'll come back. Okay, let's try that. So I'm just going to mute that for a moment. We're going to come back over here. And on this Granulator track, again, I've just got a legato A3 note. And if I hit play now, I've got this little section of audio that I've captured from this tongue drum track. And we can now play around with in the Granulator. So I'm just giving you, by the way, I'm just giving you here a little, again, ways to start thinking about how this could be used. So I thought, great, I'll bring the audio in from the internet through the Void web sampler, and then I'll capture it directly in Granulator 3 because we can do that. And there I am straight away, again, really getting this loop, live loop happening, which I think is really exciting. So let's just play with this a little bit. And we can really start to get something really interesting and quite beautiful. So it was mainly just to show you with a little bit of creativity here. And I'm sure there are many, many different examples here, but that's just something taking, again, how this tool is really brilliant, bringing the internet straight into our Ableton Live workflow and how we can capture that at the output straight into something like a Granulator, or we can record it and put it into a sampler. And like I said, in every instance where I've got the web sampler, we can add MIDI effects or audio effects. And yeah, I'm quite excited about having this in my workflow. And I think, as hopefully you can see by when you're watching this video, all sorts of fun and interesting and creative possibilities. So on that note, I'm going to call this a wrap. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it beneficial. And if this video has got you sort of thinking about what else is possible in your music production, I do one-on-one coaching for producers and DJs who want to take their music seriously and to the next level. There's a link in the description if you want to have a chat about that. I will also leave down below in the description all the links to Julian Bale's platform, the Void web sampler itself, go and grab yourself a copy of it. You can also flip him a donation if you wish, which I think could be nice given the quality of the device. And of course, keep on creating. And one last favor, if you have enjoyed the videos, do push all those buttons. It helps the channel an awful lot. Keep on creating. I'll catch you all very soon in another upcoming video or live stream. Till then, take care everybody. Ciao for now.